What are you waiting for? It's your life. The author is Jim Donovan. I'm your narrator, Rich Germain. Chapter 1. Acceptance and Attitude. Viktor Frankl said, "The last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Years ago, when I lived in New York City and actually had a job, I took the subway to work. Usually there were hundreds of people on the platform waiting for the train. Sometimes the trains were late for one reason or another, and I used to watch as a few of the commuters became anxious and stressed, trying to make the train come. We've all seen this type of person. I'll call him Hyper Harry. Hyper Harry would begin pacing up and down the platform, looking at his watch, then leaning over and looking down the track to see if the train was coming. He would continue this ritual of pacing, looking, and leaning, as if doing this ritual would somehow cause the train to arrive. Meanwhile, his blood pressure was rising, and I could see the veins in his neck popping. I noticed that no matter how fast Harry paced, the train did not come any sooner. All of his pacing and anxiety had no effect whatsoever on the train. All it did was stress him out. Clearly, this was a situation Harry couldn't change. He would have been happier and more at peace if he had simply accepted his powerlessness in the situation. The moral of the story is that while we cannot change many situations, we can always change how we view them and how they affect us. Like Hyper Harry, do you allow a situation that is out of your control to cause you emotional turmoil? Think about it the next time you start pacing and your veins start popping. Acceptance is the first key to lifelong success. Acceptance means accepting ourselves, our conditions, and the world around us as it is, not how we wish it to be. It means getting out of denial and getting honest with ourselves. It means analyzing a situation and accepting that which we cannot control or change. It means having the courage to change those things that are in our power to change. It means being wise enough to know the difference between the two. When I talk about denial, I'm not talking about the river in Africa. I'm talking about people being 50 pounds overweight and rationalizing it by telling themselves they have big bones. Are their bones really big? Or are they simply overweight from eating too much and not exercising? Accept yourself as you are right now, good or bad. Be honest with yourself and acknowledge where you are. I'm not suggesting that you should not consider reducing your weight to a more healthy number. I'm simply suggesting that you must first accept and acknowledge your present condition. People who have overcome addictions to alcohol, drugs, food, or gambling have first had to admit and accept their problem. This acceptance demonstrates your willingness to own the problem, which in turn gives you the power to change it. Affirm that you have created your current situation, either consciously or unconsciously. Take responsibility for it and become willing to change. The more you can accept the reality of what is instead of how you wish things were, the closer you are to creating a happy and successful life. Accept yourself. Too many of us have bought into negative self-images. The major social problems in our society, drug addiction, alcoholism, crime, teenage gangs, divorce, and most others, begin with a poor self-image and low self-esteem. Most criminals have low self-esteem. All you need to do to confirm this is visit a prison and talk to the inmates. The first thing you'll notice is that they continually look down at the floor when speaking to you. This is a dead giveaway of a low self-image. During one of my workshops, a woman remarked how she did not like going to events and meeting new people because, as she put it, then they will know how dumb I am. The truth of the matter is that she is a very intelligent person, but has developed a negative self-image and allowed it to limit her experience. Louise Hay, the best-selling author, suggests we work with the affirmation, I approve of myself. I urge you to try this for yourself, especially if you have a low self-image. If you want to get a quick read on your present level of self-esteem, stand in front of a mirror and say aloud, I approve of myself. Don't be surprised if it makes you uncomfortable, even scared. I have seen people burst into tears doing this exercise. However, if you continue to do this over time, you will begin to experience changes in how you feel about yourself and in your life in general. Louise suggests you recite, write, and sing these words 300 to 400 times a day. Practice receiving a compliment with a simple thank you instead of brushing it off by saying it's no big deal. You deserve compliments. You deserve love. You deserve happiness. It's useful to keep in mind that while you will never be perfect, you can become a perfect you. Personally, I have always liked the concept that my life is a work of art in progress. Like an artist working on a painting, I can work to improve different areas of my life. I'm constantly changing, growing, and evolving, refining a little at a time. Of course, it will never be fully completed. Life is about continually changing and growing for the better. By identifying the areas of your life you want to change, you are on your way to building lifelong success. Later, we will develop definite plans for making changes, but for now, simply identify what it is you want to change. To become clearer about the changes you want to make, complete the following exercise. An exercise in acceptance. On a sheet of paper, in your journal, or on the blank pages in the back of this book, draw 6 boxes large enough to write several lines. Label them with the 6 major areas of your life. The first, family, social. The next, business, career. Next, health, fitness. Next, spiritual, emotional. And finances and wealth, mental and education. For each area, ask yourself what it is you would like to change or improve. For example, if you are overweight and have health challenges, write that in the box marked Health, Fitness. If your income is not what you would like it to be, write Increase Income in the Finances box. You will, most likely, have something in each of the boxes. That's okay. Remember, we are all in a constant state of evolving. Now let's talk about attitude, another key to lifelong success. Your attitude affects everything in your life. How's your attitude? Are you one of those people who is always blaming outside forces for your problems? Do you walk around in a negative state of mind most of the time? I think not. People like that would never have opened this book in the first place. However positive you may be most of the time, there will be days when you just feel negative. While this may be fine for a brief period, prolonging a negative attitude has disastrous consequences. A negative attitude robs your initiative and destroys your discipline. The so what or who cares attitude stops you from taking the actions that will help you build the kind of life you want to have for yourself and your family. So what happens? Here's how a negative attitude robs us of our potential for good. At one of the low points in my life, I had developed a who cares, what's the use attitude. I felt that I was stuck where I was because of circumstances outside my control and blamed the world for my conditions. I figured I was at the bottom, so why even care? The problem is, as I learned through a lot of emotional pain, there are always lower bottoms to which I could sink. As my attitude continued to be negative and blaming, my situation worsened. Only when I was willing to take responsibility for my life, stop blaming, and look for what little good remained, was I able to begin to turn around my situation. A negative attitude keeps us from advancing our lives by robbing us of the self-discipline we need to improve our conditions. If you take a what's the use approach to your circumstances, they will only get worse. It's imperative that you turn a negative attitude around and learn to become a positive person. Use the principles, techniques, and ideas in this book to assist you. One of those is gratitude. The fastest and easiest way I know to change from a negative to a positive attitude is to develop an attitude of gratitude. You may even want to keep a gratitude journal, a place where you can build a list of things you are grateful for in your life. It's impossible to have gratitude and be in self-pity at the same time. Most negative attitudes are rooted in self-pitying, poor me self-talk. You can quickly change a negative attitude to a positive one by becoming grateful. The simplest way I know to do this is to ask a question like, "What am I grateful for today?" Then write down whatever comes to mind. It may be all of the blessings you have, like good health, a clear mind, a loving family, satisfying work, a comfortable home, friends, pets, and so on. Make a daily habit of counting your blessings and list what you are grateful for in your life. Doing this first thing in the morning will help you feel better immediately and begin your day on a positive note. On days when you are feeling down, take out your gratitude journal and reread it. Doing this simple exercise will make you feel better almost immediately. Action. We will discuss action in more detail later in this book. I wanted to touch on it here because this one simple distinction can have a major impact in your life. Too many of us spend our lives fence-sitting, trying to decide what to do in any given situation. One of the chief characteristics of virtually all highly successful people is that they make decisions quickly and rarely, if ever, change them. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, take a long time deciding what to do and change their minds at the drop of a hat. When you are faced with making a decision, after carefully weighing the facts, make your choice and act on it immediately. In almost any situation, doing something is usually better than sitting still and waiting for something to happen. There have been times in my business life when I didn't know what to do next, times when I was scared and confused. If you own a business, you can probably identify with this situation. What I found was that if I took action, went out and met people, made a call, wrote a letter, the situation would begin to change for the better. Taking action puts us in what is known as the path of probability. You're a lot better off doing something than just sitting around waiting for something to happen. Our tendency, especially in stressful situations, is to become like an ostrich and put our heads in the sand, or under the blankets, as the case may be. Gripped by fear, we do nothing. The problem is that doing nothing produces the same result, nothing. Taking action will always produce a result. If you are unsure about what to do, especially in your business, do something. Do whatever comes to mind first. As you begin taking action, keep going, and the right action will become clear to you. Edgar Cayce said, "Trust in the divine, apply what you know, and the next step will be given." Now here's an immediate action exercise. Write in your journal any situation or challenges you are facing. Next to each one, write one simple action you can take immediately to help resolve it. For example, challenge 1, my client base isn't as large as it could be. Action, draft a letter to potential clients. Then write down challenge 2 and the action, and challenge 3, and so forth. Once you've accepted your situation, shifted your attitude, and decided to act, the next step on your way to creating the life of your dreams is believing. Believe that you can do something about your situation. Whatever it is you want to change, it's critical for you to develop the belief that you can change it. If you feel stuck and think you are a victim of circumstances, you first need to change your belief to one of possibility and power. One reason to identify the changes you want to make and accept and own everything in your life is so you can gain the power to change them.